Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, the controversy that surrounds the undermining of Yemi Osinbajo rages on, and since the law professor has demonstrated a distinct lack of capacity to defend himself, people are now riding to his rescue. So with that guys, I bring you this. President cannot exercise official duties abroad whilst on private visit when there is a vice president. So that's the headline. President cannot exercise official duties abroad whilst on private visit when there is a vice president. So now let's see now what the body of this narrative is. Last week, there were heated debates about the legality or otherwise of signing a bill in London, United Kingdom by President Muhammadu Buhari, who was in that country on a private visit. In an interview, the principal counsel, the Law House, Lagos, Mr. Theophilus Orumo, says Section 145 of the 1999 Constitution needs to be amended to allow Vice President automatically take over power in the absence of the President. He also examined the proposed law to regulate social media and the criminal abduction of judicial officers, amongst other topics. So now it's a question and answer session. So we go to the body of it. There have been arguments about the legality of the president signing official documents abroad when he is on a private visit. What is your view on this? The pertinent questions, and this is his answer by the way, the pertinent questions are, is the president on official or private or medical leave? If he says he's on a private visit, then that means he's on official leave. Next, was the power transmitted to the next in command to enable the next in command to act appropriately? The implication of not transmitting power and signing a bill in the United Kingdom is that he is not on official leave or private visit. I think the presidency should correct the notion that he is on a private visit. So that's how that legal person responded to that particular question. So we go on to the next question. Another side of the argument is that the law mandates the president to transmit power to his deputy if he's going away for 21 days, but he didn't do so. Since he will effectively be away for 21 days, if his days in Saudi Arabia are added, what do you make of that? The implication of all these are clear. I do not want to believe that the presidency do not know what they are doing. To think that they do not know what they are doing will be clearly preposterous. The best bet is not to add the trip to Saudi Arabia to the number of days he will be absent. These are very elementary issues, and the implications are very clear. Those managing the presidency know these elementary issues and the implications thereof. It should not really be a source of worry, except there is deliberate effort to sideline the constitutional provision of the 1999 Constitution. So that is how we responded. The next question, will you agree with the suggestion that we need to amend the Constitution to say that once the president travels out of the country for a private visit or vacation, the deputy automatically acts on his behalf? By implication, and this is his response by the way, by implication, this should ordinarily be the situation. It is logical. This is commonsensical. I do not see any reason why the president will be on a private visit outside Nigeria, whether leave or vacation, and yet still purport to exercise official duties from the foreign territory he may be, when there is a vice president under constitutional arrangement. What I think calls for amendment is Section 145 of the Constitution. What is all that rigorous requirement for? Does the Constitution create the position of an acting president or the vice president? Are these two offices? No. So why go through all those processes before you act as a president when the president is unable to discharge the functions of his office under the provisions of the Constitution? The implication of Section 145 of the Constitution is that the procedure under that section must be followed before a vice president can act as an acting president. This cumbersome lacuna should be amended. So that was his response. And then this is a follow-on question still. A lawmaker was quoted to say the office of the chief of staff was more powerful than that of the vice president in a presidential system. What is your view on this? So that's the question, and this is now his response. So this is now geared towards how Kyari has positioned himself in this particular regime. So this is how this fella responds. My hope is that the lawmaker has not been misquoted. If not, I hope the lawmaker realizes the implication of his assertion. For me, it has never been the case that the office of the chief of staff is more powerful than that of the vice president in a presidential system. Section 141 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria specifically establishes the office of the vice president of the federation, unlike that of the chief of staff, which is not specifically named in section 151 subsection 1 or section 171. Constitutionally speaking, instances where the vice president can act as the de facto president are specifically provided for in section 145 and 146. What the lawmaker is saying is clearly preposterous. Assuming that the vice president is functioning under section 145 and 146, can the lawmaker assert that the office of the chief of staff is more powerful than that of the chief of staff of the president? People should watch their statements and generally refrain from making statements that could heat up the polity. People are tensed right now, battling with the state of the economy and the appalling security situation and poor state of infrastructure, especially road networks. The question and answer carries on. So here is a follow-on question. The government is planning to enact a law to regulate social media through the National Assembly. What do you think of this move? So this is completely separate from the Osinbajo questions. So I'll just go to his answer on this one and I'll cap it off here because I really just wanted to go to the Osinbajo bit because that's where my interest is. Well, since I've already introduced this question, I'll just read out his answer and then we'll cap it there. So we'll go to the question again. The government is planning to enact a law to regulate social media through the National Assembly. What do you think of the move? And here's his answer. What differentiates social media from other forms of media is that it is easily accessible by everyone, irrespective of class, race, and creed and position in society. So one thing social media has attained to utter consternation of the elites is that everyone now has a voice at a next to nothing financial cost implication. Some have contended that the speculated attempt to regulate social media was a class war. I am tempted to agree. I think the elites, the rulers, and the capitalists, etc., are not too happy about the easy access to social media by everyone, especially the proletariats. So that's the common man. The proletariat is the common man. So I am not surprised by what is happening. If I remember very well, an attempt was made in this light in the past, but it died a natural death. Social media regulation has so many issues tied to it. It is not an easy road to pass through in view of the fact that social media is hosted on the World Wide Web. Again, how many social media hosts are Nigerian companies? Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, and many others with lots of Nigerian users are not Nigerian entities. These are mostly American companies. How do you regulate their users based outside Nigeria? How is our government going to regulate Nigerian users outside Nigeria? There will be certainly issues of conflict of law. Section 31(1) of the Constitution guarantees freedom of expression without interference. This right is not absolute in the sense that the subsections under that section makes several qualifications to this right of freedom of expression. For me, the present efforts to regulate social media are another step in the wrong direction. This effort is clearly needless. There are already existence and extant laws to deal with abuse of freedom of expression. There are laws on defamation even under the already existing criminal laws. So the answer is very lengthy, so I'm not going to go through the whole length of it, but the summary of it is, and the upshot of what he's saying, so I'm just going to this last section first. The upshot of what this guy is saying, that is it's absolute stupidity to say that you're going to regulate social media, because how are you going to regulate social media? How is Malam Buhari going to regulate Twitter, an American company? How is Malam Buhari going to regulate Facebook, an American company? How is Malam Buhari going to regulate WhatsApp? I think it was an Indian that created WhatsApp. So these things really is not anything that you can regulate. You can say that the people should not use it, but you cannot stop the people from using it. The only thing that they will do within their own space, because Malam Buhari, even though now they are pumping his ego to the point that he now thinks he's God Almighty or something, he's only the president of a third world country, and his influence does not transcend the borders of that country, and it should not really. He can have influence with other people that the country has influence over, but is effectively the president of a third world country. Is not the American president, is not the United Nations Secretary General, is not even the king of Saudi Arabia, is just the president of Nigeria. So him now thinking that he's going to regulate social media is just a nonsensical thought. So how, if you are then regulating social media, how are you then going to stop the person that is creating content in his room to create that content and put it on social media? These people will just find more creative ways to still have their voice. You are running the country badly, and you are then repressing people from expressing that opinion that the country is being run to the ground. You run the country to the poverty capital of the world, and you are saying that people should not have a say about this. So that is just that response to that last bit. But to the bit about Yemi Osinbajo, well, it's a narrative that we already see going on. But the one upshot from what this guy said, or from that question and answer session, my takeaway from it is there should be something now that automatically transfers the power from the president to the vice president if it's away for a significant length of time, let's say 1 week or something. So if it's an official duty for the country, then that is official duty for the country, so he's still acting in his capacity as the president. But if it's away unofficially from the country, then of course the country then must have a president in place for that period. So it is not a case that some Abba Kyari type character will be taking files to London to go and undermine the vice president. No, it should not even be left to that discretion, because you would always have elements like Abba Kyari in any system that permits this sort of element. So the system then should not then leave permission or room for this sort of element, and that then should be captured in the constitution, is effectively what is being said here. Conversations in the comment section. Come tell me what you are making of this, the continuing bullying of Yemi Osinbajo, to the point that the boys are now coming to his rescue, is now what we are seeing now. Come tell me what your take is on all this. But before you come have this conversation with me, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. Bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me what you're making of what is going on with the vice president of Nigeria in the comment section. So I'll leave you here, join in the comment section. But here I say peace.